It's a competition clinching shot. Whoa! How about that?
The LET Golf Podcast, the official podcast of the Ladies European Tour.
Right, hello and welcome back to the LET Golf Podcast. And we are live this week from Finland with a very special guest. She's an LET winner this year. She was a winner at ATS Singapore and she's joining us live. It's Pauline Roussin from France. Pauline, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, we're great. It's nice and sunny here. I'm getting a tan on, so I can't complain. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's a beautiful country and it's nice to have some good food from Europe. And, you know, it's just, it's going to be a great week with great weather and great course. So
Absolutely. And I mean, it's great to have you back. Obviously, we last saw you out in Florida.
Yes.
First question, why Finland? Why have you chosen to come back this week?
So, I mean, I was eager to play, to be honest, and I had a couple of weeks off on LPGA, and I just didn't want to go home and just sit on my couch. So my mom mentioned that tournament because obviously I was focused on what was happening in the US, and she was like, why don't you just go back to Europe and, you know, play on LAT? And I'm like, you know what, that's a brilliant idea. So that's what I did, and I flew back a couple of days ago from the US in France for a day and a half, and then flew here. And I was super excited because I've never been to Finland before. Went to Norway and Sweden for European Team Championships, but never Finland. So that's it's going to be a cool week.
Absolutely. And I mean, how are you feeling? How's the game? I know you had a top 10 on the LPGA in your last event. So just tell us where the game's at.
It's honestly, it's trending in the right direction. And finishing on that top 10 definitely is a boost on my confidence. And then it's good for, you know, what's coming next. But I've been working more on myself rather than my actual game. So it actually, that top 10 is very positive, but it's not stopping me from keep doing what I've started working on, basically. It's just the proof that it's working, and I'm just gonna keep working on that thing that I've been working on.
Yeah. So would you say it's all sort of starting to click again now?
What'd you say?
Would you say your game is sort of starting to click again now?
Yes, definitely. And I think it helped that I started working with a new caddy, Gary Marshall, and he knew how to reach out to me on the course when I started being an oyster and close myself down. And since then, you know, we've done a lot of good work, and I started working with a new mental coach, started working again with Patricia Meunier-Lebouc a little bit. So it's been a lot of mental side and mind work rather than actual game, because the swing has always been there. I just was struggling with the way it was like seeing things and maybe about the new pressure that LPGA puts on myself, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned it earlier, but we've got to go back to that win in Singapore first and foremost. Tremendous week. Just, you know, talk to us. I guess you've had a bit of time now to reflect on it. Just tell us about that week.
I mean, it was an amazing week. Same, first time in Singapore. A special week because my boyfriend, Bruce Lowe, was on the bag. And it was, my coach, Alain, was there as well. And it was honestly a working week. It was, when I say that in a way where we still had stuff to work on my swing that I wanted to, you know, fix before starting on LPGA the week after. And my mom was there as well, just because obviously I was going to go LPGA for a while, not seeing her for a while. Anyway, and so it was, yes, I was going there to win, but it was the first goal of that week was just to work on my game. And throughout the days, it was like, oh, this is getting really good. And then on that last round, it just, I mean, I don't even have words to describe that, but it was the first time that everything was just lined up in terms of like every aspect of the game, plus the good moment that I was having with my boyfriend on the bag. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, you mentioned that there. I remember your post-round interview. You were saying, I think you were just chatting about TV or something like that, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we were talking about The Mandalorian because and the fact that I've never seen Star Wars. And every time he's like, we need to educate you. And I'm like, don't say that. But yeah, so we were just talking about what he hasn't seen and what I haven't seen in terms of TVs, and then about TikTok and just just stuff to keep my mind off things, but it was very natural. We did not force it just to have my mind off things. It was just a good moment with him on the bag, just because it was the first time that he was on the bag. So
Yeah. And have you now watched Star Wars?
I have not, but I've watched a couple of the series that are like prequels. I don't know how you call that, but they are from Star Wars. But I have not watched the movies.
Got you. And I mean, how important is it just in general to take your mind away from golf and talk about other things? I know you're passionate about a lot of other sports and activities, but just how important is that to you for then take on the course?
I think it's very important to, in my opinion, to not only have golf, but at the same time there is a balance. I usually perform when there is a perfect balance between the grind I can put into golf and my interest outside. So I have a lot of interest for martial arts, skiing, TV shows, but mostly combat sport. And I was, like last year, I was obviously really trying to keep my mind off golf because I was spending so much energy when I was out there on the course that I needed to just switch off. This year it's been a little bit different because I started having a couple of results that I did not like, that I wasn't expecting, and I was like, am I focused enough on golf? So I reversed the process and I got into more grind towards golf, less about other things. But then I reached that limit where it was, again, too much golf and not enough of like switch off. But growing up over the last couple of months and year, now my interest outside golf became a bit more like chill, a bit more of like, I started meditation a couple of weeks ago, and it's been helping me a lot. And it's now one of my interests outside golf, and that's how I switch off as well. Drawing as well. Let's put it that way. It's less active switch off, like I could do with workouts, like go on an elliptical and go as hard as I could, and it would make me forget about golf. No, now it's more about like, okay, what can I do in a calm, very calm manner to switch off? And I think it's like the yin and the yang. You have active switch off and you have passive switch off. Active one is workouts, but now that I'm like a bit older, I feel that I need that calm part, and I've started doing that meditation part, not only martial arts and workouts.
Of course. And let's just talk a bit about, your working out. I think, and I will mention it now, but I spoke to Suzanne Pettersson and she said that you were one of the fittest players she's ever seen, which bodes well for Solheim, right? But just in general, I was like, that's a pretty big compliment from her.
Wow.
Yeah. So just tell me, I mean, how does your week look in terms of working out, and what activities do you do to stay fit?
Well,
just hit you with that bombshell.
Yeah, no, seriously, I was not expecting that. I mean, honestly, I try to just listen to my body a bit more now in terms of like the way I work out during the week, and I just keep I keep pushing like some weights, even during tournaments week. I keep doing some cardio. I'm just a bit more mindful of the impact it can have on my body and where I'm going to be sore and how it can affect my golf swing. But then honestly, it's a balance between working out and nutrition. I'm on top of it on both ends. So I'd say that now I try to work out at least 4 times a week during tournaments week, but it can be now between 25 minutes to up to an hour. And again, I'm more flexible now. Last year, I was really trying to keep working out no matter what. And if I felt that I was like, oh, I don't really want to work out, I was like, stop being lazy and let's go to the gym. So I did that last year. I don't think I should have. And then I injured myself a little bit. So it pushed me to be a bit more mindful on that. And I'd say that this year, it's like, yes, I keep working out, but it's more towards like satisfaction. Why do I need to be satisfied? but I'm mindful on the fact that it's going to impact my golf and my energy level. So I keep working out, but I'm just a bit more mindful on it.
Yeah, that's a good balance.
Yeah.
And we'll just go back now, like we like to do on the LET Golf Podcast. I know we haven't got too long, so just take us back to the start then. How did you get into golf as a child? You know, who inspired you? Who were your heroes? Just tell us about the journey.
Well, I think I started golf when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I started at the same time as martial arts. I was doing both judo, golf, a little bit of tennis, a little bit of everything. But I started with my parents, my brother, and my grandma, and it just became a family thing. I was the only one in the family to really find an interest into competing. So I was really, working hard straight away when I was like 6, 7, 8, and then when I was 10, I did my first national championship in a category that was supposedly for 12 years old. And it was the start of, I think I really like this. I think I really like competing, and I want to do that more. So it's like I spend a lot of time playing with my parents, my brother, my grandmother especially. Whenever I was on holidays at her place in the south of France, we had this little tradition. We would go at 6 a.m, singing songs in the car, going there and playing 9 holes early morning, and then go to the beach. And it just became a really happy moment. And I kept having a really good relationship with my grandma about golf, and she was the biggest support. Don't get me wrong, my parents have always been the biggest support as well, never putting pressure on anything, and they're just the best parents I could ask for, to be honest. Brother the same. So it's just like I'd say my whole family, even on my aunt, my like grandparents on my dad's side, my grandma, everyone in the family has been like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like, keep having fun, keep doing your thing. And they've been like super supportive from day one and still now. Like I still receive messages today from everyone during tournaments and from my parents, my granny, and like everyone, literally everyone. And it's something special. Like sometimes, when it's a bit hard and you see messages like that, you're like, oh, I wish I could, play better. So they see better, and maybe they expect better from me, but they're just like, it's unconditional love and unconditional support. And I think that's super important. So that's kind of the place that my family takes into that journey. It's they're part of it, literally.
Yeah, that's lovely. And how was the scene for you in France growing up? I know you represented France a lot as well as a junior. Just talk to us about your roots.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think I played my first tournament for the French team when I was 13 for the European Young Master. And then first European team championship when I was 14. And it just kept going. I played 8 years in a row, the European team championships, both for girls and ladies team. And then I encountered many different coaches that all of them impacted me in a good way, sometimes not in a good way, but I learned from it. So it was like all about building towards, my final goal and getting on LPGA and furthermore. And I got homeschooled when I was 14 because the French school system is not designed for athletes at all. And the school does not like when you have other interests than just school. So they make you choose. It's like either you're an athlete and you have to stop school, or you just choose school and you give up on your sport. And we're like, this is not going to work. I had the chance to have my mom who was not working at the time, and we're just like, all right, if they don't want to work with us, we'll work our own way and build my own team, build my own school at home. And my mom was helping me starting 14 years old until I had my final exams, my baccalaureate, when I was 19, and then off to the States. So.
Wow. So that was 14. When was it that you'd actually decided, yeah, I want to be a professional golfer? And when did you have to like pick between the other sports that you were interested in? What sort of age did that happen?
I always like kept going, kept training in the other sports, no matter what my decisions were regarding professional or not. I think when I was like 14, 15, we were on the fence regarding going to the US, at a university. And it was, I think when I was like probably like 13, 14, I was like, oh, I think I like that. But for me, life was always, after I knew I could go to college in the US, it was all about going there, use university as a perfect start to go on LPGA. And that's what I did, honestly, so I worked towards that throughout the years. I was like, I know that in 2019, I'm going to go to college and that I'm going to give myself a little time and then go to Q Series and get my card on LPGA and start winning on LPGA and all that. So everything was very organized towards that. Everything was like workouts, and my life was about this. But it never stopped me from sparring with friends, boxing, and keep having an interest in Kali, which is a martial art that use sticks, I'd say, like wooden sticks, and got into MMA 2 years ago with David Baudrier, the trainer I'm training with right now, both boxing-wise and just workout-wise that are really specific to golf. So it's just, I think it's just a balance, because when I was working out back in France, I was working with Frédéric Lambertin, who's like the best trainer ever as well. And we were working towards that goal of surviving the 8 days in a row of Q Series, because 8 days is super long. It's like a lot of golf. So you have to have enough cardio to survive that. So starting like 2016 or 17, we were already working towards that, towards playing a lot of golf. Little did I know that it was even more golf than I was expected, especially my first year on tour. But everything was towards that, and I kept the other interest as well. Never stopped on either end.
Yeah, nice. And you touched on college then, so you obviously went to University of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Why did you pick there, and what are your memories from there?
So I was recruited when I was in Europe by Kaelan Anderson, and I went to visit in 2018, I believe, and I signed straight away. It was a golf paradise, literally. It's 18 acres of fairway greens that are at like 13 feet speed. It's just the best thing ever. It's you can do whatever you want. You can practice the way you want. And even if it's raining, they have this thing that can move around with you, and you can play under the rain, not being soaking wet. So it was a lot about golf. We had 5 different golf courses to practice at, and I love that variety of courses. And then the school was really good. I knew that their business school was probably like second school in the country, same as psychology, and then the campus it's huge. It's 35,000 students. So it was big, but not too big. And it was like the coaches that I had, Kaelan and Kevin Williams, made my life in college amazing. It was just the best time ever. And they were working around me. They were helping me any way they could. And it was just the perfect path to LPGA. And I'm still super, super thankful now about all this, and I still try to go back to South Carolina a lot. So, yeah, good memories, for sure.
That's beautiful. I did a year in UNC, so similar.
Oh, nice.
So we're actually rivals.
Yeah, North Carolina is great.
Just a golfing paradise, like you say. That whole strip, you can just amazing.
Oh, it's a different world. Mm-hmm. It's a different culture. They really have this athletic culture that is my culture, the way that my parents have, and the way and where I grew up in, and it's so not the case in France. It's awful to say that, but I think it's sad that you're 14 years old, and if you want to keep having a family, your family around, and you still have, and school is very important to you, you would have to literally stop school to actually be an athlete, or you would have to go in a golf school, which would be in Paris, where I live in the south of France, and you leave your your home, and you're 14. And it's like, this is not happening. So I think that's where there's a flaw in the system, where there can be better things on that. So when I arrived to the States, he was like, paradise.
Yeah. Wow. And
Yeah.
just everything, the stadiums, it's different.
Oh, it's
different
huge.
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their one's huge as well, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Incredible. But we got to talk about, you were there with Ana Peláez, of course.
Yes.
And we had her on the podcast, and she had a lot of fond memories from your travels all around the States playing golf. So just tell us a bit about that friendship.
I mean, Anna and I were roommates for a year, and it was hilarious. I was swearing in Spanish, she was swearing in French, and it would just, she's a hard worker. And it was so nice to have someone who was like working hard next to me, and who was living her dream, and who was working towards her goal. And I think that's why we got like very close, because we were just on the same page on a lot of things. We had our moments as well, obviously living together, but overall it's just full of like incredible memories and support. And now that we're both on tour, it's like, I can't wait for her to be, like, I'm super happy when I'm on LET, because we get to play together and compete together. And I can't wait for her to get on LPGA a couple times, because I think we need some Ana Peláez on the LPGA. But like, it's, she's an incredible player, and like being with her was, in college, was an inspiration a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you must have, I mean, how much do you like, talk to each other now and help each other out? How's that support system still work between the two of you?
I mean, whenever there is like a win or a good result, we're always here for each other. It's like,
Yeah.
we send tons of messages, obviously Instagram as well. And I'm sure that I keep an eye on what she does. She does on my end. So it's, we know we're both out there, and it's exciting to see the both of us perform.
Yeah, absolutely. And moving on then to you turning pro, obviously coming off the back of a prolific amateur career, 34 weeks as number one amateur, which must have been very special. But then talk to us about the decision to turn pro, and then within 2 weeks you were an LET winner, right? Second event. So just tell us about that whole process, and then what it was like to win at the Skafta Open.
Skafta was amazing. It was great. Like, my mom was on the bag, because I still couldn't play with a professional caddy on the bag. I was still working on it, to have someone on the bag and someone within my thoughts and all that. Anyway, honestly, it was my coach in college who called me, and she's like, why aren't you turning pro? And I'm like, because I told you I was coming back for another semester, and I don't want to let you down. And she was like, look, I'll be fine if what's best right now for you is to turn pro, to be able to play professional tournaments, earn some money, for you to then be comfortable when you play Q Series for LPGA, then go for it. So after we had that call, I got an invite, thanks to a friend on Symetra Tour, sent an email to say that I was switching my status to a professional one, and I started from there. And honestly, because of the way I've been working, I didn't feel any difference in terms of like, turning pro was just on paper, because in my mind I've always been very professional on a lot of things, inspired by the best. And so I was like, it doesn't change anything, it's just a piece of paper basically. So I got on Skafta in August, and my mom was on the bag, and it was again all about having a good time, because I was going to go back to the US, because I was still in college at the time. And Reine, who gave me the invite for the second time, because the first year I played Skafta, I missed the cut by a lot of shots. And I was like, I need to figure out this course. So that was the mentality I went back to Skafta. I was like, I think I'm going to figure out that course. And that's what I did. And it was obviously full of good memories, because Lynn Grant was there. She was the one spraying champagne on the 18th green, and she was the one spraying champagne in Singapore as well. We're really good friends with a couple of the Swedish players, and I think we all inspire each other. There's Maya Stark as well, Frida, we're all in the same bubble of performance, and we follow each other and all that. But Skefter was definitely the start of a long line of victories, for sure.
Yeah. And what did it do for your confidence moving forward? Must have been a big boost, right?
Definitely. Honestly, I just kept doing what I was doing. It was, at the time, it was very easy to just tell myself, you're playing this tournament because you're working towards your goal on going on LPGA. So nothing was bad. There were no bad shots. There were just shots that can be better, so I can be better to get ready for Q Series. And having that in my mind, there was no failure possible. It was just work towards Q Series and LPGA Tour. So based on that, I just kept working towards that. I got the chance of winning in Skefter, get my LET card, which opened doors to a lot of tournaments moving forward, and I played them to just get myself ready for that moment where I had 8 days to perform to get on LPGA, and that was my chance. Well, first it was second stage, 4 days, and then the Q Series. So that was the big thing that really kept my mind straight for at least 3 years, college life, and then when I turned pro.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking ahead then now, we'll try and be quick and wrap this up for you, but looking ahead, what are your goals? I know you've said it before about playing in the Solheim Cup, winning on the LPGA, but let's just elaborate a bit more on your goals, especially for this year and for the future.
Honestly, obviously I have long-term goals, career goals that definitely like becoming the best player in the world and remain at the top and having that consistency of being at the top is definitely the goal. Obviously then, throughout the years, having as many wins as possible on LPGA and on majors. But honestly, right now, I'm really focused on building my own mind in a way where it's going to take me through my whole career. I'm building a mentality that is going to really affect the way I play on tour, because it is so much different than what I was doing when I was back in amateur. It's so much golf, and the level that is required to perform is so high that there are many different things that I'm working on to save energy on the course, to actually perform even better, because I used to have a very high intensity type of mentality out there. It was like, around that tournament, I'm just gonna break legs, and nothing is gonna stop me, and no one is gonna stop me, and this is how it's gonna work. And that's a mentality that is like energy consuming a lot. It can work for a week, but then if you have 2 weeks off, it's fine. But we're talking about playing 4 weeks, 5, up to 9 weeks in a row, where you obviously want to perform on every single one of them. So I have to rediscover myself on that, because I can't do that. Like, I can't do the high intensity type all the time, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. That's the goal as of right now. And I'm working with that on every single tournament that I'm going to be playing over the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Very good. Very motivational, focused.
Yes.
I like it. You should be like a public speaker, Pauline.
Oh, really? Oh,
hey,
my
good
gosh.
At this. Yeah, honestly, I'm feeling inspired. I want to go out and get the clubs myself. Good stuff. And before we go then, just to wrap this up, we're just going to hit you with some quick fire questions.
Okay.
For our listeners. So it's just pretty much one word answers, or you can elaborate a little bit more, but just go into a bit of depth. So, favourite food?
Pizza. Yeah, definitely pizza.
Especially after a big workout, right? It's like...
Oh, yeah. Seriously.
Or a long tournament?
I honestly, every week we have a tradition. We have a pizza night with friends. We have a burger night. So we try to keep that every week.
Yeah. Favorite holiday destination?
It has to be a destination with snow.
Oh,
Cold, snow, very nice landscapes. But I would say honestly in Orsières, that's where I go skiing.
Beautiful.
In
Because you're a big
France.
skier, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I am.
Nice.
Yes.
Favorite music? Who did you used to listen to, Grandma?
Well, these were like little songs that you sing when you're young.
Yeah.
But it would honestly be probably rock from the 70s or 80s, like Billy Idol, Nick Kershaw, Motorhead, like all these artists.
Nice.
But as of right now, I'd say like pop music is what I'm listening to, but mostly 70s, 80s.
No, that's awesome. So you do a bit of MMA and you listen to rock music.
Oh,
That's
yeah, definitely.
good combination,
Exactly.
like a little punk rocker.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have any golfing superstitions? Anything you do on the course or before a tournament?
I try to stay away from superstition because golf is already hard enough that there's no room for superstition. But I do have this little superstition when I'm marking my ball with one marker. If I made the putt, it means that marker has a good vibe, so I'll keep using that one. And if I miss the putt, I switch to another one.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just gonna be in between two, so I just switch around with these two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who is your favorite sports person that's not a golfer?
I would say either Michaela Schifrin or Lindsey Vonn.
Okay.
Both skiers.
Both skiers, yeah.
Yeah.
What about in the world of MMA?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, Conor McGregor is definitely... I'm not talking about the person, and I'm just talking about his mentality and his hard work and his sports philosophy. Like his show on Netflix was very inspirational, and I think it's a good one to watch.
Nice. Good plug.
Yeah.
And final one then. What is your dream fourball? If you could pick any 3 players to play with, who are you picking?
My fourball? That's a tough one. Rory. McIlroy for sure.
Everyone says Rory
Of
on this
course.
podcast.
I mean, we have the same putting coach, so.
Okay.
How can I say? Does he have to be a golfer?
No, that's what I was actually about to say.
Okay.
I like the answers when
Okay.
it's not a golfer.
Mark Wahlberg.
Okay, Marky Mark. And,
Yes.
And Rory.
I've listened to his songs. And then the third one, that's a tough one.
Lindsey Vonn plays golf, right?
She does? If she
think
does,
so.
I would
I
love
think
to
she
play
plays,
with her.
yeah.
So Lindsay.
Okay,
Then.
that's a strong 4.
Yes.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Nice. Well, we'll wrap it up there then, Pauline. You've been absolutely great and
Awesome.
some great answers there. And obviously, best of luck this week.
Thank you.
In Finland, and hopefully we'll have you again soon on the future.
Yes, thanks
Perfect.
for having me.
Well, no, thanks for listening, guys, to this episode of the LET Golf Podcast. Please give us a follow on socials at LET Golf, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
It's a competition clinching shot. Whoa! How about that?
The LET Golf Podcast, the official podcast of the Ladies European Tour.